For some reason, Australian businesses seem unable to get their heads around. Trade with Southeast Asia's biggest economy is just $11 billion, half that of the trade we have with New Zealand. The poor performance leaves many shaking their heads, but also looking for opportunities to do better. Here's Helen Brown.
It's a gathering of some of Australia and Indonesia's business heavy hitters, heads of commerce, the Indonesian ambassador. The Australian Foreign Minister even called in to this recent business event.
Let's not ignore the invitation. Let's work to develop the relationship's full potential. In doing this, business engagement is absolutely critical.
The opportunities for partnerships between the countries have been regularly discussed over the past few years, including by this man who runs a consultancy firm that helps businesses avoid corrupt practices. Noke Kirayan has seen a track record of investment in minerals and resources, but in other areas, progress remains slow.
Australia is just seeing it, as I said before, from a narrow perspective, whereas the opportunities are across the board, and many Australians don't understand that.
For those advocating a greater Australian business presence in Southeast Asia's biggest economy, the numbers just aren't adding up. Hundreds of thousands of Australian businesses need new growth opportunities, and nearby, a country of 250 million people and a growing middle class. But it seems a reputation for excessive and arbitrary regulation and ignorance about Indonesian culture is deterring many, and only 400 Australian businesses are operating in the country.
I believe the image of Indonesia is a little dated, and these challenges are there in most markets, but Indonesia sometimes gets worse than the reality rap. But you do need a strong commitment, because like any growing and developing market, there will be volatility. And in times of volatility, you need to be calm and you need to stick to your long-term strategy.
Companies from Japan and Korea have invested 10 to 15 years in developing relationships and finding the right business formula for operating in Indonesia. European and American interests are investigating more opportunities. Australia, it's often said, is missing out. A sentiment backed by a report that found only 9% of Australian businesses are operating in Asia, let alone the nearest neighbour of Indonesia.
There are challenges, and we certainly don't shy away from highlighting those challenges as well. They cannot be underestimated. I guess the critical point here is that we also cannot avoid the opportunity either.
One Australian who wants others to make the effort is Benjamin Cass, director of a company that is developing residential communities for seniors.
And if you accept that it will take a few years to get your feet on the ground, both in a regulatory sense but also in a practical sense before you ever be able to monetise your business effort, if you accept it will take years, then it's an extremely profitable market.
Taking years to work through a complicated environment is not something that Australian business or shareholders easily accept.
It is difficult. It's something, however, we have to come to grips with, and it's something, however, we have to realise that other countries around the world are coming to terms with it, have come to terms with it, and we're about to miss out.
Indonesia's new president has been pitching to the world that his country is open to foreign investment, especially to help build much-needed infrastructure. Joko Widodo has charged his ministers to make the regulatory changes required.
I think it's unrealistic to expect that they'll change very quickly, but I think that we've heard from that president that he is very much planning to make the environment such that foreign investors can invest, and with confidence.
One area where Australia may have an advantage is a reputation for high standards of governance and strong institutions, providing a certainty not often found in developing markets.
I like doing business with Australians because they're ethical and they pay in time.